and welcome back. Thanks again so much for hanging out with me today. It is a bright day here in Hong Kong, but actually what I wanted to kind of capture in today's sketchbook is this bamboo, not railing construction kind of situation. Oh, it's a little bit hot, I think, because this is like made of stone. So I don't think I'm going to be here very long, but I do want to capture the bamboo scene just because I think Hong Kong is one of the very few places that still uses a lot of bamboo for construction, and just seeing it really up close, it's really amazing how they manage to keep such an intricate craft as a part of their construction practice. And I want to document that as a part of documenting my life in Hong Kong and part of just what makes this place so unique and so special. So it's going to be a lot of lines and a lot of geometry, and let's give that a shot today. So these are the bamboo stilts that I was talking about. Oh, they're not exactly stilts, but you can see how they're just kind of tied together by raffia rope or plastic rope, and they assemble it to do some construction and they disassemble it. So this is part of like the process of renovating that goes on in like buildings and such. And currently this is August 28th on a Monday, and they're currently renovating this pier. I believe it's been in renovation for a while. This is Pier 3, one that leads to this place called Discovery Bay in Hong Kong, and it's not going to be in construction for much longer, I don't think, or at least I don't think they're going to keep it closed for the whole year. So it's actually a good chance for us to illustrate and document this while this is happening, and we're gonna start doing that through the sketch. All right, let's try to see if we could maybe do another real-time sketch. I believe this was the last time we did a real-time sketch where I'm just talking and narrating stuff like this. But I have a feeling that we can do another real-time sketch today. I've just spritzed my palette right here. So I'm just gonna let that, I don't know if I wanna let that soak. I just sprayed some water and let it soak, but it's already looking kind of dry. Maybe because we are sort of near the water and it's pretty hot. Actually, near the water would make it even more humid. So I'm hoping the humidity would come and help here. I've got my water cup, which thankfully I've washed since the last time I did it. I've got my pencil because I think that based on past experiences, that things that I draw in tend to have a little bit of a better proportion. And because today's drawing has a lot of geometry involved, I do want to keep that intact. And yeah, let's just see how we go from here. I'm gonna roll up my sleeves because it's pretty hot and I kind of don't want it to brush against the painting, which kind of knowing me, this will definitely happen. But yeah, let's just start sketching. And so I basically just want to capture this row of bamboo sticks. I'm not even going to draw like two lines to capture the bamboo. I just want to capture their like big essential for lack of a better word, like gesture. And then I think I just want these leaves to be here. Actually, no. I want to position this a little bit lower. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. And then because I want the top of the leaves here, I want to capture like this as the tip of like the highest one. And I'm just gonna pull it all the way down there. Second, all the way down there. And then so I think the great thing is like these bamboos are like varying height, so I can kind of put them however I want. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 will be right here. And then this is when the two will intersect. They intersect. I'm gonna actually make this the intersection. I'm gonna edit it a little bit. This is the intersection for going this way. I'm gonna have a bamboo going this way. I know it's a bit complicated right now, but let's. It's a lot of lines that I should have started a little bit lighter, but these would be buildings. I think I should have shifted because this is a sketch. Ideally, when we do like a 3x3 grid, this should be in the bottom third part. So this is a little bit of the focal point. We'll try and make it this way, but yeah, it's the bridge, buildings, there is an iconic building, which is actually placed right in between. There's another one here, but a lot shorter. Perfect. This will be the building, and this will be the leaves that are branching over. Then this will be, yeah. Oh, and it's already smudging, so I probably should come in with my paints now. I am going to start with this rosemary dagger brush. And let's just see where we go. Okay, I'm just trying to position it in a way where you can see what's going on camera. Actually, the water is probably less important. Because I am a simple artist, I always start with a very simple sky. Just gonna start with the sky right here, and that is it for the sky. Gonna start immediately blending it in with some of the darker buildings that they tend to lean a little bit more purple. So we have a little bit of a camera overheating problem, which is not that surprising at all given that it is actually pretty hot at the moment. So we are not dilly-dallying around this sketch. I think what I am going to do is we're going to try and get this lay-in as much as possible. And then when it comes to the details, I am probably going to have to do a time lapse at the end. And this is just because it is just impossible to do like a time lapse without this camera kind of like dying out on me. And to be honest, it's not just the camera that's overheating. I am also overheating. And that's, I think, something that we all have to deal with more and more as the years go by. Okay, so I'm just laying in initial tones. And actually the bamboo color is maybe very similar to this. So I don't know if we should do a negative, like if we should paint around the pencil lines. But actually no, I'm going to, I think, go straight in. Just gonna quickly outline the trees in like one color. I know this is like very quick and rough as like a lay-in, but we can do this. I'm pretty sure we can. I definitely have to cool down a little bit later in the shade before I head back to the office. Okay, now there's this little bit like kind of cover up in the bottom, so I'm just gonna put this in. It's a bit white, but it's like also a little bit transparent. I think that's it for the initial lay-in. Now to jump in with the details. All right, and now we're switching here to a time-lapse. And the reason for that is because this weather today is so hot that my camera's overheating, and the only thing that actually could work is my little tiny saving grace, the Insta360 Go 2. So I've got kind of like a love-hate relationship with this thing. It doesn't really last longer than like 9 minutes of continuous recording, but it is so reliable as well at the same time. And it is the one camera that I always have on me. No, actually that's a lie. My phone is the one camera that I always have on me. But this is a pretty close second. It just like lives in my bag, and I think it's just something so small that I could kind of forget it. I'm so tempted to get the Go 3 just to try it out because I've heard great things about like how it lasts more than a few minutes and it can continuously record and everything. But I don't know, I'm still kind of stuck on my Go 2 and I kind of still like it. There are some features on the Go 3 that I like the ability to live preview your footage, whereas this I need to check my phone. But you know, as you can see in the footage right here, it's still working perfectly fine. So I'm just gonna hold off that purchase until a while later. But back to the sketch, this is basically right after my initial lay-in. All I did was just continuously build up the layers in the background, mostly just to make sure that it gets dark enough so that I could actually put the stilts, the bamboo stilts on later, and it'll become visible. And you can see at some point in the time lapse as well is that I put the bamboo stilts on and I realized that the trees are still too bright. So what I did was immediately I pivoted back to darkening the trees, because I had at that point like two options. I could either do the bamboo and then like fill in the negative space with dark trees, but I thought that would be harder. And since I'm working with gouache, I have the privilege of kind of layering on top with a really light and opaque layer, and this is not something you can get with watercolors. So I thought I would lean into that property of gouache and just do that. And I just tried to make the background a little bit murky. I didn't really care for so much detail in the background at the moment. I think what I wanted to do was put in a lot of detail on the bamboo. Make sure that I put in actually a couple of the ropes as well. So I also add in a little bit of detail in the background. So for example, the building that I labeled ISC had like the reflection of other buildings, and then the building right behind it, which is the Bank of China building, it has a really iconic like triangular shapes, and I wanted to add that in. And it's technically not the same white as the bamboo, but you know, it's a part of harmonizing the sketch. I was like, you know, why not? I just make the same shade, and I use the same shade for the background as for the foreground. It's kind of a similar shade anyway, and it's one of the things that you can do to kind of unify your sketch is to edit the colors a little bit. So it's as if this is using one color palette. And what I realized is that my background keyed a little bit cooler, and I wanted my bamboo to key a little bit warmer, but because I added white is sort of a cooling color, and therefore it muted down the temperatures a little bit. And I'm not too sure I am extremely happy with the sketch, but I am glad to kind of mark this moment with this painting or with this sketch, because I know that this is not going to be under construction for much longer. And it is a nice way to sort of capture memories of how things are the way they are at any given point is with these sketches, because not only do you take quick photographs, which I love doing as well, but you also take time to sit down with the scene and like take a full picture of the scene, literally with like in my sketchbook, and just absorb it and just, you know, try to enjoy the moment of being here in this, I think it's 30-degree weather, but I honestly think it's so much hotter. But despite the heat and despite the struggles of it all, we have a full-blown sketch. And honestly, after like an hour back in the air conditioning, I'm gonna forget that this is this hot, and I'm gonna make the same mistake, which is going out in the heat again, maybe tomorrow for another sketch. But I think that's like the fun of painting, right? You just get to, everything, you just get to have a little bit of fun and a little bit of challenges, but then you overcome it. So for example, with this camera challenge, I overcome it by using my other camera and using a time lapse. And maybe we'll save the more real-time recording for winter days or night days. I guess it worked last time because it was dark and kind of cool and by the breeze. So I thought that because today we were by the ocean as well, that this would help the weather of the camera, but I guess the 12 p.m., 1 p.m. sun rule renders this a little bit impossible, but that's totally fine. And with that, I'm going to round up the sketch right here. Thank you guys again so much for joining me on the sketch today. This is the result, and another clip of the result is right here. Thanks again so much for joining me today, and I'll catch you here next week, same time, same place. Bye!